Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The 12, our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corvair. This story will stream live Sundays at 6 p.m. Central here on Javelin Entertainment, and if you missed the last session, you can check it out on the channel page or by clicking the link down in the description.
Last time, the glitter and grandeur of the Ascendance Masquerade Gala came to a sudden explosive halt. As chaos cracked across the skyline, a tower ablaze, a city in panic, and our heroes thrown into the fray. As smoke spilled into the stars above, Jasira, haunted by a fear unknown, broke free from Theschault's grasp and fled into the night, vanishing into the chaos. Only Boko, ever watchful, caught a glimpse of her trail, and someone following close behind. But when he called on Roland to aid their chase, their urgency was gravely misunderstood. City defenders mistook their haste for hostility. In the blink of a spell, Roland was ensnared in a glowing arcane bubble, and Rhea lay bleeding out on the floor. Drego Sarhain, the Gala patron, stepped between the blades and spells to ease tensions. Introductions followed with uneasy glances as Lehren Kivihall, stoic Mage Guard, and Leopold Berris, orcish paladin of the sovereign host, joined the fray. Together, this strange alliance took up the trail once more. Meanwhile, Jasira's world had begun to unravel. Pursued by pale horrors no one else could see, she ran through streets that blurred into visions and dreams. Moments of joy, fear, and passion braided into a tapestry of nightmares. What was real and what was memory? Back in the waking world, Roland, joined by Rhea, Rennie, and the two new allies, followed the hunter's trail after they had lost Jasira to the Dock Ward. A few questions asked, some politely, others not so much, and the net began to tighten around the mysterious figures. But time, like moonlight on water, slipped through their fingers, and they chose caution and returned to the seventh eye. Elsewhere, Boko, Theschault, and Drego followed Jasira's trail deep into the folds of the city. They found gouges in the stone, claw marks in the dirt, a maelstrom of madness and fear left behind. But no Jasira. Because Jasira was elsewhere. In a strange vision, in a castle burning, surrounded by ash and memory, her body moved, but not by her willing. Her past and future colliding in a dance of dread and destiny with a strange night. And when it ended, she wasn't in the castle at all. She was in the sky, falling. What are these visions? Who stalks Jasira in the dark? Can our heroes unravel the truth before the nightmares take root? And where the hell is Clyde during all of this? Let's tune in and find out.
Clyde's fault.
Jasira, as you were coming out of this strange vision, this moment of ash and fire, a castle ablaze, this knight that you had stood over, defeated, called a prince, this scene playing out in front of you as you're watching it disappear, that darkness creeping over your vision once more, and you feel yourself being pulled away before this scene has reached its conclusion, before the night met its end. And as you're pulled through that darkness, this cold air rushes towards your skin suddenly as you are returned back to the darkened world of Carlacton. But you are high above it, falling through the air. The towers are rushing towards to meet you, and this city is rapidly becoming a death trap. What are you doing?
Somehow I missed the fact that I was falling, so I did not prepare for this. So
Jasira didn't
It's not
either.
the fall that kills you.
exactly.
It's the sudden stop at the end.
So we're gonna do a quick little skim through my stuff, but I don't think there's a lot to do. So let's see.
So the first question
Oh my goodness.
is,
All right.
as a monk, does Jasira have slow fall?
I do have slow fall.
And what
Yes,
are
we
the
do. That was
effects
level
of
4.
slow fall here?
Well, it says you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any fall damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. I have a feeling I would take a lot more than that if I go Kersplat.
All right. So that'll help you if you go Kersplat. In the meantime, as you are falling through here, again, sans any clothing, as these visions tend to leave you in the bare,
Rip.
What is Jasira trying to do to slow her fall or to stop herself or to prepare?
I think the very first thing, she might try to see where she might have fallen from. She might try to see if she can turn behind and look up and see if there's anything tangible.
Sure, give me a perception check here. You look up into the night sky and it seems distant, cold, dark, and you don't see any sign of anything that you could have fallen from.
Fair enough. Can she kind of, I guess on a quick glance looking down, is she able to kind of guesstimate where she's, like what part of the city she's falling above?
It's weird to look at this city
Based on, like,
that
landmarks?
you're becoming more familiar with from above, and it takes you a moment to really adjust to where you can kind of see enough landmarks, and you kind of realize in this moment, even though you're falling, you are kind of trying to slow yourself as naturally as possible, and you must have been a good ways into the air. You're somewhere in the north part of the city. You can see the towers of the Grand Library over to the left. You can see the gates far to the right, and so you're somewhere somewhere around this northern section of the city, close to the main road, but slightly off to the left.
Okay. She is going to have to rely on her dexterity, I'm sure. I think she might try to pinpoint what might be the tallest rooftop that she's falling towards. I don't think we have any way to like glide through the air to actually adjust our falling. But if she can try to pinpoint where maybe the tallest roof might be and just kind of prepare for a tuck and roll kind of situation, I think that's the best we got for us.
A cart full of hay.
Do we have a cart full of hay everywhere? Because I was unaware of that.
I mean, there's always a cart full of hay somewhere in Assassin's Creed games. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky here.
Yes.
Just look for
maybe
the
a nice
pigeons taking
trampoline.
off.
Yeah, I figured trampoline might be good. A pool. Whatever you got. Something light.
We'll go ahead, and for this, go ahead and roll me a D100, Jasira. And on a 10 or lower, we'll say that you find something that is not the city ground.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, it should be in that one.
Oh, hold on. My bad. I think I started to do the roll, and then I typed just D100. Oh my god, not a D1000, for the love of everything. No.
Opposite side.
She's going curse flat.
All right.
I think it should count.
You've had this moment of looking around, trying to orient yourself, trying to find what exactly is happening here, how you got up into this air, and this ground is rushing at you faster and faster, and you try to pull out of the way of some of these large towers that make up the city, and you find your just shoulder smash into one as you spin off towards the side and go slamming down into the ground. Let's see. So what is the amount of damage that you reduce this by?
Let's see. So it's the amount 5 times my monk level, which would be 40.
All right. Give me a moment here.
So this can take about half of my possible health.
You're going to take 78 points of bludgeoning damage. And that
Please
reduces...
tell me that's total, not...
That,
oh, good.
That is total. And so after the slow fall, you take
Good.
40 off of that? Is that
Yes,
right?
I'll be 38, which is most of it, but I'm
38
alive.
points. So as you go smashing down into this ground and find yourself just in this bit of rubble, you are bruised and half broken in the darkened early morning. You look around trying to... Yeah.
Ariel. All right. Continue.
It is quiet here in the dark of the early morning. As you look around, you're somewhere in the northern parts of the city, but the streets here don't look familiar. You know somewhere is the high road, but you're also beaten and bruised. The air barely able to get into your lungs right now as you've hit the ground hard. And you don't know what kind of... what that ruckus might have drawn.
Fair. She doesn't got a lot she can do. We can probably try to give myself a little bit of bandage healing. Let's see. Yeah, we might need to do some hands of healing to heal up a little bit. I don't know if it'll actually... I don't think it'll actually fix bones or anything, but it'll at least make her a little less bloodied.
So you can roll... what is that? Martial arts die plus wisdom. So you're at a D8 right now?
Yeah, which... Not yet. I think D8's next level. So we'll do... It's the D6 plus 4.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not bad.
So you do what you can to at least close some of the open wounds, kind of pop some your shoulder back into place from where it had hit one of the buildings, and kind of pull yourself off into the shadows of one of these alleys. And at this point, we'll kind of take things back to the other side of the city, where nearby the hospice, Drego had been casting some divination spells utilizing the sweater that Boko had handed him. And Theschault and Boko were kind of looking around at these marks across the stone and ground that had been left in Jasira's wake. As Drego is finishing up his incantation, the two of you kind of look around to see this mess. Is there anything that you two are doing here in this moment before Drego finishes his spell?
I think we already took a really close look here and found what we could find, right?
You did. I was just wondering if there was any preparation before you guys tried to follow whatever lead Drego took.
Yeah, I don't think I'm super familiar with scrying stuff. I mean, I assume that really wasn't part of my studies unless that was our focus area. So I'd probably just leave it in his hands here.
Right. And after a moment, Drego kind of looks at the two of you. I think I have her location. I'm feeling something in the north part of the city. She's a good way away, but if we hurry, we might be able to get there.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's move.
And I'd like for one of you two to go ahead and give me a survival check here as you try to navigate the streets as quickly as possible.
I've got a feeling that my survival is not as good, but let's check.
I have a pretty decent survival being from the Mournlands.
Mine is 0. Go ahead and roll that for me.
And Boko, you will roll at advantage with Drego helping to lead and guide you, at least in the direction. He's got kind of a single point,
Right.
And so it's up to you to kind of navigate through the streets.
Perfect. It's a bit unorthodox, but...
Oh my gosh, okay.
Wow.
A 2 to a
Thank
20.
goodness.
Boko being an expert in survival? What?
The irony.
Wait! I just got that.
It took me a second. You can see the gears.
I guess you really do learn better from failure than from success.
I'm sorry,
Wow.
Boko is still here after all the critical hits. I feel like his survival is excellent.
You know what?
Clearly.
His
I would
ability...
agree with you had I not been the only one to die in this party.
I mean,
you were ripped in half, but you got better.
I got better.
You got better.
All right. So as you all just quickly head, and Boko, you know the high road is the fastest way to get to anywhere on the north side. And you begin to lead Theschault and Drego over towards the high road, and kind of utilize Drago's magic on once you kind of get a bead off of that, on where you need to cut in, and quickly make the maneuvers through. And luckily the northern part of the city is where a lot of the old money is. A lot of the established nobles and wealthy merchants. This early in the morning, there's not too much happening off the high road. There's people coming in and out of the city, as there always is. But once you kind of get off the high road into some of these back alleyways in between the buildings, you're pretty much alone. There's only some lamplighters out lighting up the arcane torches and making sure that they still burn. But other than that, the streets are fairly quiet. And you're able to cover the distance with the urgency of the three of you. You're able to cover the distance very quickly. And you come upon just this strange sight for you, Boko, as when Jasira had left, she was in an elegant ball gown, a mask ready to be used, and what you see is like this cowering, almost childlike image of this pale-skinned, white-haired elf just surrounded by debris in this darkened corner, and just these deep-set eyes of someone who hasn't gotten sleep in weeks, and just this look of fear.
I don't think Boko would initially approach, but would look for hopefully recognition to register on Jasira's face.
Jasira, as you're processing all of what you've experienced, you still don't know how much is real and how much is dream. But you see three figures approach. You see the images of Theschault and Boko, and you see that white-blue suit of what had been kind of a mystery man, now unmasked in this figure of Drego. How is Jasira feeling and reacting to this?
I think she'd want to believe. She wants to believe they're here. That they're real, that she's safe.
Boko, you...
And...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. She'll just kind of say, "Are you there?" But probably just a really raspy, struggling to breathe naturally after that fall, but...
Boko,
Are you really there?
You hear this quiet voice call out to you. This darkened alley, this dim light, she's almost like a shadow that blends in. Her pale skin now kind of blending into the dusk and the shadows around her. But her voice calls out of those shadows, looking to confirm some sense of security. And you see that fear and that almost madness that you had noticed back at the gala.
In a soft voice, Boko will respond and he'll say, "It took me a moment, but it is me. I am here. Look, here is your proof." Boko will reach into the bag of holding and pull out one of Jasira's shirts and offer it to her.
They'll probably just kind of... I'm 100% thinking Gollum right now. So she's just going to kind of like hobble forward a little bit, very slow. And she'll take one of the shirts.
Yeah, Jasira, as you crawl forward, going to take the shirt from Boko, Drego kind of turns politely, giving you some privacy, and pulls off his own jacket to kind of give you more to cover yourself. And you, with the shirt and the jacket, do the best you can to wrap them over yourselves. And it cuts the chill. The weather here, it's starting to turn towards winter as autumn is reaching its final days. But you have some semblance of yourself returned as these figures, strange as they are to be appearing here in the middle of nowhere, seem to be helpful. And Boko, are you helping Jasira into the shirt here, or trying to... She's clearly injured. Are you trying to address any of these wounds?
Boko has a little bit of familiarity with gentle triage, and would know that it's best to probably not lay hands on anybody when they're in this vulnerable of a position, and would wait for Jasira to be comfortable enough to make the first move.
So the three of you kind of giving her some privacy for now as she gets into these clothes, and all of you trying to get back to some level of security, begin to wander back in the direction of the seventh eye. It's quiet in this morning light. Jasira, you can see the others are kind of waiting for you, giving you space. All of them have curious looks on their face, but they're protective. You feel this moment of safety despite the terrifying moments of the past few hours. It takes a handful of minutes for you all to cross the high road back into Trollskull Alley, but eventually you do wind your way back towards where the seventh eye sits. As Drego kind of, for a moment, bids his goodbye, and kind of you can see him wanting to stay, wanting to ensure Jasira is safe, but knowing that she's in the safest place that she can be. He says that he'll be back tomorrow to check in and make sure everything is all right before giving a nod and leaving him in the care of Theschault and Boko. The two of you begin to head into the door and find what is mostly an open and abandoned seventh eye. However, there are some very uncomfortable noises coming from some of the resting areas upstairs.
Oh gosh.
Oh god.
Oh. Damn it, Clyde.
Is there anything that you all are doing?
There wasn't
before-
even
What?
there wasn't even a sock on the front door.
I'm sure there's a sock on a door, but not on the front door.
Oh god.
Is there anything that you all are doing this evening before you get your rest?
I'm just going to, I mean, I guess we're probably, I would assume, getting Jasira to a good resting spot, and then we'll probably reconvene downstairs before we go our separate ways.
Are
We
you
have
going?
to rest first, right?
Are you? Yeah. Are you going?
Oh, I
separate
know we
ways
have to.
with him?
I know we have to rest. Yeah. I'm in our separate ways to like wherever we're sleeping in this place.
Yeah, you guys all have rest. There's a handful of places where beds have been set up and rooms have been made. Part of what you guys had gotten this place for is to provide you all lodging, in addition to having a storefront for you to get rid of some of your acquisitions across your adventures.
Right. So I'll probably just come in with Boko and just kind of look at him a little puzzled. Just, is this all part of that thing you've said is inside her head?
It must be. I believe something has a hold of her mind in a way that it can cause such fear. But I have never seen magics like this before.
That worries me, all things being considered. Considering everything that you seem to have seen so far.
Yes. However, I cannot risk Jasira disappearing again. It was difficult enough to find her the first time.
Agreed.
Perhaps some alarm spells to warn us should she feel the need to take off.
Well, I don't know if I have any of the materials on it right now, but if we think that it would be useful to at least give some extra security to her area. I do have arcane lock.
Oh, just gonna lock the door from the outside.
You can't leave.
Yeah, I do not wish to hold her hostage or keep her against her will. Merely to have some kind of warning should she flee.
Well, between the two of us, I feel like if she takes off on foot again, I don't know if either of us are going to catch her, though you're probably better suited for that than I would be. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Unfortunately, the only other person I know that is more difficult to find is Roland. So
That's a
we
good
are
point.
a bit of a disadvantage. Magics of the mind. Would you have abilities to look within or to identify?
Not really. A lot of mine well, some things practical, some healing, things that I need obviously to be able to manipulate and add water to the containers, and different ways to, well, buff movements and whatnot. Really, the only one that I would have that even remotely restrictive here would either be, well, grease, which I can only assume is not going to be useful here, and arcane lock.
I don't know. Clyde might be needing some right now.
Little extra grease never
I
hurt.
am not doing that.
Was that one of the strange sounds we heard when we came in? Was the incantation for grease?
Oh, God.
Followed by the incantation for enlarge.
Oh, God.
Why did he just use Mage Hand 17 times?
I'm going to get him.
You know, if you had asked, he would just wink at you.
Clyde's gonna be the death of me. I swear.
Oh, man.
I think before bed, after getting Jasira tucked away, Boko will take some time to lay out some string and set some alarm spells up around the outside of the room.
Okay.
Do these last all night?
I think they last 8 hours, if I remember right.
Yes, 8 hours.
All right. As you
And
set
of
up,
course, Jasira only has to sleep 4 hours, so if she wanted to get out of here, she'd have a 4-hour head start.
as you begin to set up these alarm spells, kind of try and find places to rest. A few hours later, you're kind of disturbed from your rest, Boko, as you hear some commotion and worrying that it might be Jasira kind of rush down to find Roland, Ray, and Rennie getting in even later into the morning than you. They look a bit tired, but also have this air of success about them and intrigue and interest as the three of them enter.
Wait for them to sort of get settled and approach and just say, "Did you find anything?"
We found lots of things.
Boko waits for an elaboration, which may or may not come.
just sitting there, just.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay.
What were you looking for?
Oh man.
I'll start to elaborate on all of the different people we talked to and what they may or may not have known with very little context of just like, oh yeah, and then like the third person we talked to is like a whole bunch of information, none of it's useful.
Boko will also say, "We were able to find Jasira. She is sleeping. Unfortunately."
That's good, because we didn't find her. That would have been weird. How would we have both found her at once in different spots? That would have been bad. My exhaustion is just making me very, very talkative and not very helpful.
Boko will kind of raise an eyebrow, but will continue and he'll say, "She is resting at the moment. However, we think it may be wise to find some way or someone who can look into her mind and see what afflicts it."
Like, look into the mind, huh? Okay. Like, is
Roland
she
have any-
just, like, unconscious because she's tired, or is she unconscious because she's magicked?
She is only unconscious because she is tired.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Does Roland, in recent memory, does Roland have any abilities to see into the mind, or like, you have like detect magic and stuff, right?
I have detect magic. I only have first level spells is my limitation.
Oof.
So detect thoughts is a second level.
I don't think artificers can learn that, can they?
They cannot.
Unfortunate.
I mean, if you guys just want to wait until I can take 2 more levels in cleric. Wait,
Just-
no.
Just do some small quests around town.
Cleric doesn't get it either.
We just have to stay in the forest, killing boars.
The sword of 1,000 truths.
Detect thoughts is Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard, so we would need Clyde.
Clyde is currently indisposed.
What level is detect thoughts?
2.
2.
I see. I could have learned it, but I didn't know I was magic, so I just picked basically random spells. My spell list was generated with a random number generator, and then I found ways of why Rennie might have known that.
That is
That's amazing.
Love that.
That's so good.
Hence why we have Bane and Mage armor, despite not wearing armor or wearing weapons. The spray of cards was kind of fun. I did choose that one because I was a gambler. Yeah, this was just a random selection of things, and I'm sorry.
I love it.
I realize I can prepare a lot more spells than I have been preparing. This is wildly unfortunate.
Jeez.
Is there anything?
Yeah, I think it's...
Yeah, was there anything else that you guys wanted to do before completing your rests? All right. Then as you all go and retire back to your rooms, exhausted from the late night out, eventually the light of the sun does start to rise on the city. And you all have made it somewhat safely back to this location, but fires still rage throughout the city. Sounds of alarm and reactions to this outburst can still be heard echoing through the streets. It's some hours before, Jasira, you realize that you've been drifting in and out of this trance, unsure of what was sleep, what was rest, and what was anxiously staring into the ceiling. But eventually you find that you can no longer sit still. What is Jasira doing?
I think she'd probably, for better or worse, is going to try to leave the room.
Where are you going?
Kind of walk around the seventh eye, ensure that her comrades are resting.
Not for long.
I know. That's why I'm like, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, Jasira, you slowly walk around checking on the other rooms. You find one with a purple sock on it. A few others that are kind of half open as people have found their beds as quickly as possible. Eventually you kind of wander over to where the seventh eye is at, and you see Boko kind of leaning up against the side of the door. It's tough to tell whether he's actually tired or not. The damn darkened complexion makes it all blend in, but he's just quietly sitting there, observing.
You should sleep.
Boko agrees, but it's complicated, okay? Boko will look at you and he'll say, I do not know how to look into your mind, how to see what it is that afflicts you. But if you are willing, perhaps there is a spirit nearby who could aid us in some manner.
This is too much. It's something I don't really wish for anyone else to have to deal with. And I would love to be freed of it. Just kind of laughed to herself. A very dry chuckle. I don't even know what happened. Everything fades to black. I come to in weird positions, places, doing awful things. I can't tell if it's real, or if it's what has been or what will be. And I don't know where my shit goes. My clothes?
Boko looks at Jasira and he'll say, I think I know of someone who may be able to help. Perhaps to give us some kind of information. Boko will sort of turn his head towards one of the rooms in the seventh eye. A spirit who serves as a healer of those who need her.
I think I need her.
Come. I will see if she is near. And Boko will begin setting up for a ritual.
Jasira will kind of just shuffle behind.
Boko, as you go through the process of setting up this ritual of getting into place and getting your garb on, preparing that bone knife that you carry, are you trying to control who you summon here?
I am. So I will ask Jasira for permission. Boko will say, in order to amplify the call to the spirits, life force is required. I hope to have your assistance in making this call.
She'll just stretch out her arm and offer it to him.
Boko will make a small nick in Jasira's finger. About 2 hit die worth.
Small Nick.
All right. Very small, Nick.
So you will have to roll 2 of your hit die and take them as necrotic.
Yeah.
As the blood is
All right.
absorbed.
That's okay.
Wow.
Oh, I thought it was.
I
two.
got.
So
I don't think you add the con modifier.
correct. Yeah, it's just 8
Okay,
total.
so it'll be a 1 and a. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We dig it. I did decide. Yeah. Button's easy.
And then Boko will also offer some of his life force as well. He will offer. Let's see.
Ooh, Boko.
It's not so much the amount of blood that's spilled from the wound as how much is pulled from the wound by the knife. And so as Boko starts at his finger and runs it down the finger across the palm and up the wrist, the movement of the knife causes the blood to sort of splash into the air, and almost as if unaffected by gravity, the blood catches fire. This royal purple. Boko will make a call.
And for this,
And as he reaches out with his... Go ahead.
for this Boko, you do need to roll a d20, and you need to get a 9 or less.
I do have inspiration.
You do.
Yay.
Hey, historically, inspiration has rolled lower.
God damn it!
It was lower.
Technically correct again.
Gotcha.
Either lower or it improves it by 1.
So,
We just got our
As-
first both.
as Boko and Jasira, you see this as Boko begins to call the name out. You see as if something stops him from speaking. Something causes the name to freeze in his mouth as Boko's mind is overcome with the memory of Xander and the vision of the matriarch and her falling to the floor. Boko is unable to reach her.
As this call is sent out, Jasira, you see what was supposed to be a directed call is left into the ether as shadows grow and spin from the sides. Austin, go ahead and give me a D100 here.
Almost nice.
Almost nice. On who is? Oh, wait, this might actually be okay.
As these shadows start to draw this specter coming forth in this ritual. There is some benevolence that steps forward. This soft green glow that begins to outline shadows, and for a moment Boko stands in a bit of horror as these antlers start to step out of the shadows. But rather than dark shadowy fingers, the shadows of metallic wing-like shapes, these are small, white, antler-like shapes. They're cloaked in vines and flowering branches. And this elven-like face, eyes shining like morning dew, emerges from that shadowy veil. The air begins to fill with scents of springtime and soil. And Jasira, as you're sitting here, you feel some of your bruises just naturally starting to ease and relax. You are in the presence of a blooming earthen spirit. Her voice is soft like a river brook as she looks down at Boko's form, still somewhat stunned. I may not be who you are looking for, but perhaps I can answer your call all the same.
When Boko speaks again, his voice cracks under some unseen weight. But he says, "It is not for I that I have called you. My friend, there is a taint that afflicts her mind. And it is beyond my ability to remedy. I ask for your help." Boko will sort of nod his head in deference.
This green, earthen, dryad-like spirit looks from where Boko, who had called it, over to Jasira, where you sit quietly on the side. She holds a hand in your direction. Come, my child. Hold on, and I will peer into what ails you.
Jasira will wait a beat, and then she'll just kind of slowly reach out her hand and grasp the spirits.
As you grasp onto the hand, there is this soft white light that spreads from the spirit over your skin, that glow over your pale skin, almost highlighting, illuminating you for this moment. And these green vines of magic wrap around your arm and up and over your shoulders and back, towards your neck and head, and down towards your hips, as this energy pulses over your body. And you feel this surge, this light, this verdant renewal. And then there is pain, a burning sensation, and the vines recoil slightly as the light recedes back to the spirit, and she pulls her hand away quickly. You carry with within you a dangerous passion and fire. But you are cleansed of the magic that plagued your mind. The flames of fear, of unsatisfied desire. I cannot keep at bay. The spirit turns back to Boko. This one will need help. There is more that is required for her to break forth from the seed that grows, or else she may be consumed entirely in ash and fire and rage. Search for those of this world, those that can break the boundaries between the threads. And with that, her floating shape begins to start to recede, slowly fading back into the shadows.
Jasira will let out a really soft thank you for what you've done.
As that soft face is about to disperse, there's just a nod in your direction, Jasira, and you can feel something tangible. Whatever that magic was over your mind, it's gone now. That fear, that intensity, that amplification of your emotions has recessed back to normal. But you still feel this throbbing in your veins like a fiery heat within you. There's something else that's at play here as well. Boko, as this ritual completes and you are brought back to the land of the living, you see Jasira pondering to herself, thinking about what had occurred. But she seems at least somewhat improved.
Boko will watch her for a moment, and with the spirit's words still hanging in his mind, almost as if they were echoing within, she says, "This one will need help." Boko will silently respond to himself, but also to any spirits who are listening. Quiet enough so Jasira can't hear. You'll say, "Then she will have it." And Boko will begin to remove his garb.
Is there anything that the two of you wish to do in this moment of early morning sunlight before the others awake?
Jasira will just kind of look at Boko and say, "You don't think I'm a flight risk anymore, do you? I don't want to be a burden on anyone."
Boko will look at her and, kind of confused, he'll say, I think it is foolish to believe that we are out of the danger yet. But you are worth the danger, Jasira. It is no trouble. Boko will begin bandaging his arm.
I think, yeah, Jasira's gonna give you a hand of healing. And kind of in the same, like, smooth motion, she'll just kind of put her hand down to heal you at least a little bit. A deep sigh, and just kind of nods her head, and she'll go back to her room, presumably to knit some more, because I think we're gonna need more clothes. Clearly she keeps losing them.
Boko, as Jasira turns to head back to her room, you see a light coming from her back. This glow that just emanates behind her as she trails into her room.
This glow, you said it was white?
This is like an orange glow.
Does it feel familiar at all?
Give me an insight check or an arcana check, maybe.
Of course, now the low rolls start coming in.
Rip.
Oh.
There's nothing naturally familiar about it. In fact, it's almost reminiscent of like a hearth or a campfire. Like there's something warm and tender about it. Just like this amber glow to her.
Boko will enjoy the sensation for a fleeting moment before retreating.
And eventually, each of you wake up in the morning later than you would have normally done after this day's heavy adventures. But nevertheless, the shop is intact. Everyone is alive. Sirens still go off in the distance. You can still hear the commotion across the city as people still try to deal with the chaos of and devastation of these explosions. But the day for now is yours to do with as you will.
Probably go check out the remnants of what the fuck happened with that tower.
So Boko,
Anybody want to?
I still want to find the people that were after Jasira.
Mm-hmm.
Jasira could probably give you something to look for.
Yeah, no, I can. I'll start with talking to her, and I mean, Roland isn't the most emotionally intelligent person, so he'd probably just like when he sees her just walk up and start asking questions. No regard for like trauma or anything like that, just I have a job to do, you have information.
I can just imagine her sitting at the coffee. Yeah. I just imagine her like sitting at the table, drinking some coffee or tea or some shit, and just being like, "All right," puts it down. Get to business. Yeah, so she'll kind of like lay out the description of the person she happened to see. And she'll just kind of, for emphasis, rolls up her sleeves, whatever clothing situation we might have right now. Just kind of say, somehow paler than me, dark hair, female, and kind of try to give the best, like, quick height, weight estimates that she can kind of conjure up.
Okay.
And any other identifying details that she can recall before she went wackadoodle.
Alright. Roland's gonna get to work with that information. He'll leave word with the help at the shop that if people stop by looking for him and leave the descriptions of the folks that he was working with prior, that to let him know he's back in the area that they were searching. And if they go down there, they should be able to find him.
Yeah, and Roland, as you're preparing to head out, Alistair does kind of come to the door early in the morning. It's probably only about 9 o'clock at this point, as everyone is kind of up and moving about. But he knocks, catching you before you're about to leave, or catching all of you here. I just wanted to come by. Some of the guards told me that Boko had come asking after Jasira, and after everything that's happening in the city, I wanted to make sure you all were all right. We at the hospice do appreciate what you did last night, regardless of how everything ended.
Of course. We are fine. Jasira is here. Boko was able to find her. I am on my way out to go find the people who are after her.
Right, well, if there's any way that we can assist you all, please let us know. Right now we're trying to do all we can to assist in the rehabilitation of those who were injured in the blazes.
Good. Just kind of like, after an awkward moment of standing around, just kind of nod and walk out.
Roland,
are all of us around to hear this?
Yeah,
Yes.
by this time, everybody but Clyde.
Oh God, Clyde.
He worked up a sweat, I'm sure.
Back at it again. I will.
Do we know why everything blew up last night?
That's what many of the guard is trying to determine. Rennie, go ahead and make me a persuasion check.
Heck yeah!
Do it.
One persuasion coming at you. It's alright, guys. I can still nat one it.
But you didn't.
Pretty good.
Alistair kind of leans in and softens his voice a bit. Listen, I am not one for gossip, but you all have earned my trust, and so I will pass along things that I have heard. Are you all familiar with the Order of the Emerald Claw?
Are we?
Anyone who is from and anyone can roll a history check that would like to. Anyone who's from Karnath can do it at advantage.
Well, I don't think I am familiar with it.
Fuck. Oh, why did I walk out?
Because you're busy.
Alright, so
Okay, Theschault has it.
don't worry.
He's got it covered.
Think Thank goodness.
For both Rhea and Theschault, the name instantly summons what is a very visceral reaction. The Order of the Emerald Claw have been around for a while, and they're kind of treated like boogeymen almost, in a way, where they're kind of always whispered to be around, kind of watching, but nobody ever has. You guys have never heard of anybody seeing them, but they are talked about like terrorists, talked about like doing attacks and assassinations and poisonings, and people attribute anything bad that happens onto them, and they are often grouped with the worst of the worst for Karrnath, especially now in this era of peace after the last war. They represent those who wish Karrnath to go back to the way that it was, this militaristic, heavy reliance on necromancy country. And most people understand that the Order of the Emerald Claw still utilizes and heavily relies on necromancy. They still utilize skeleton warriors, and they still practice zombification and reanimation. They are, many of them, at least on the start, were rumored to be past military generals and commanders from the last war who were not ready to hang things up. That has been decades and decades now, and so it's unlikely that many, if any, are still alive, but with necromancy involved, no one is ever too sure. And kind of seeing Rennie's look, Alistair elaborates a bit as well, saying, "The Order of the Emerald Claw are often talked about in terrorist activity. Things like attacks, rumors, but nothing this big, nothing ever in a major city. They're a small guerrilla faction. They're not supposed to be capable of anything on this scale. I don't know if it's them, but there was clearly a message delivered. That green smoke, that green claw, very much symbolized their namesake." I know adventurers are often keen to try and get involved, try and make a name for themselves, or try and solve trouble. Be careful if you go poking around what happened last night. People are on high alert. Everyone is watching much closer.
Austin, can I bring back an old character and poke around?
Quick, while Roland's gone, everybody roll intelligence checks and talk about cloak and dagger shit.
No, this isn't a Roland thing. This is a Lucius thing.
This might hit a little closer to home than just being adventurers.
Do you have a history with the Order?
I would think of it more as idealistic differences.
I would imagine most share your ground. There are not many, at least not openly, who would agree with their opinions. Especially here in Karlakten, which gives some credence to the rumor. If a city was to be attacked in Karrnath, Karlakten has got the most progressive views. Karlakten is moving the fastest away from the old methods, and perhaps if they wanted to send a message, it could make sense why they might choose this city. But this is all conjecture. Again, I'm not involved, but if I hear anything, I can pass it your way, if it's something that interests you.
Please do, if you're able.
And he also looks over.
Alistair,
Yeah.
Are they currently investigating? Is there a hub of research or investigation that requires aid?
I'm sure they're in the middle of investigation. There are many within the city, many different factions who are likely to take interest, but the Guard will be heading up the formal investigation. I heard that a Detective Broadwags, I believe, is the one that I've been told to utilize if I need to reference anyone. I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, but...
Do you know where this person can be found?
My guess is they're likely investigating one of the blaze or explosion sites. If not the tower itself, then one of the other small blazes within the city.
Boko nods. I apologize if the appearance of the hospice before the attack on the city has caused you any ill effects.
Unfortunate timing, but I don't believe it will have any lasting effects. We were still able to make a considerable impact by removing the quarantine zone.
Can I do an insight check on him to see if he's lying to me about that?
Sure.
Jesus. Fuck!
Hard to read.
You
burned all your luck early.
What's evident is that he is sharing some confidence and trying to lean into this relationship that you all have shared. And from what he said in the past, you know that the hospice is not exactly the most popular of locations. And so he is trying to preserve what has been a very helpful relationship already.
Okay.
I must get back, but I can tell you that the children are all stable. All of them still waiting for most to gain consciousness, but they're all still alive and well, despite what happened last night.
If you need extra hands or help, please do not hesitate.
I will let you know. For now, we will give it some time, but I'm sure the wounded will continue to flood into any of the hospitals that are around town. We at the hospice are not the first choice, but in times like these, we are utilized nevertheless. Well, I'll bid you all good day. We'll look forward to seeing you all when you next visit. I will let you know if I find out anything more. He kind of gives a nod and turns to leave. Boko, you said you were interested in investigating one of these sites?
Yes.
Which, are you headed towards one of the ones in close proximity, or are you heading towards where the tower was destroyed?
I will first do a quick round about the Seventh Eye and see if there's anybody else that is interested in accompanying me and getting involved where I probably shouldn't be. Oh no.
Is that saying that no one is interested?
Jasira's interested but hesitant.
Okay, wait. I do clarify. What are you actually trying to get in trouble with?
I'm gonna go try to see if I can lend a hand in investigating what the hell happened with this explosion and this attack.
Oh, but deal's
Of course.
Claw. I'll come with you.
Whew, thank God.
Yeah, don't worry. Let's go be stupid together. I have probably a bone to pick with these dudes.
Why did the adult walk out?
Yeah, it's not that I trust the Theschault's judgment. I'm just glad I'm not alone.
Whoa, hey!
My bad decisions.
I'm going to go do something that's within our capabilities and that helps out a member of our party and wraps up a loose end that is identified.
Out of all loose
I know.
ends.
Let's go open the level 10 jar.
You
can
left
do
before
both.
anybody else was up.
Exactly. That's what I'm complaining about. Is the adult walked out down the
Your device.
You didn't
down
have
the quest line.
I feel like this
And you
pattern
guys
is
wait.
well established by now.
You guys just go and go, ooh, what's that warning? You are too low level for this area? I'm sure it's fine.
There's no warnings like that in this game. That would never happen.
Alistair literally just gave us one!
That's fair, but part of me thinks that I really don't want to let Boko go off and die again. So if I need to pull him out of it, this is a good thing.
He's an expert at it by now.
Yeah, but we kind of want him for all the stuff that you're doing eventually. So I want to make sure I'm there to hopefully grip him and take him away.
Oh, by the
Boko
way, did he
would've-
ever take his eye back?
Yeah, I will say that he
Yes.
would have gotten it
Okay.
on the evening. Yeah.
Damn it.
Boko would have absolutely accompanied you, Roland, but you didn't ask him.
Well, and both can still happen. We can hit up multiple locations here. But just due to proximity, you all would be able to get to one of the locations of the blazes first. Boko, did you decide if you were going for the tower or one of the other ones?
Probably the tower first.
Okay. So as you all kind of try and track down where this location is of the remnants from the tower, it's not easy or not very difficult to find. There is still a heavy amount of smoke billowing up into the air, as this whole block is still ablaze with the remnants of fire and debris. Guards kind of keep people at a distance away from the smoke and flame, and there are arcane mages who are blasting water spells and utilizing magical artifacts to keep the blaze at bay and keep it from spreading to other parts of the city. How are you going about taking a look here?
Boko's gonna look at the Theschault. Do you see anybody that you know, or perhaps would be more forthcoming with information?
If I do, I hope that they're not one of the people we're looking for here. So, do I see anybody I'd recognize out in this crowd?
Give me, we'll say another history check for you, Theschault.
I think I'm gonna add a flash of genius to that because
Okay.
I feel like this would be a good domino to topple in our adventure here.
Yeah, so standing around this Theschault, it's especially with Boko's help, you immediately recognize two figures that look familiar, having run into them the previous night. You see a tall armored man with the complexion as dark as Boko's, if not darker, that same kind of well curated beard, but the balding head, kind of a red sash around his shoulders, and that darkened metallic armor. This is one of the men that you met at the gala, the one that Clyde had talked to thinking he was the Scarlet Swordsman. He is standing next to Lehren Kivihall. Lehren is in blue robes, the dwarven mage from the previous evening, and the two of them are kind of conversing with a small, portly figure with furred skin, He's about the size of a goblin, but rotund, whereas most goblins are very lithe and thin, and just has fur across his what looks like a thick mane almost around his head and kind of down mutton chops, and he's got these fangs that kind of poke out from his bottom lip, and this almost like semi-ape-like appearance in his facial features and these kind of pointed ears, and he's much shorter but dressed in this kind of elegant suit jacket, and has this cane kind of in his hands. He's still in garb that looks like it came from the gala. It doesn't look like he's had a moment to change.
Interesting. So, yeah, I'd go up and just talk to them. I guess. Well, I guess a lot's happened, but yeah, hopefully can already have a good starting repertoire here, running into each other yesterday.
Yeah, you kind of come over to these figures, Theschault, and immediately Kivihall is the first one to turn to you as he kind of looks you at the group of you. Oh, hello again. It's good to see you all in shape, and I'm glad to see that you found your companion. He motions at Jasira, who is kind of coming along as well. Please stay back from the blaze. It's still a bit dangerous in there. Curiosity.
Indeed, not a problem.
Did curiosity get the best of you?
I suppose you could say that. Myself and Boko have come out to kind of see if there's anything else that's been, well, either left at the scene or something that will let us know to keep an eye out in certain areas of the city. After all, I mean, it's not home for everybody, but it's certainly home for me. So I'd rather make sure that the streets are as safe as humanly possible.
Things are as safe as we can get them now. We've sent some folks in to try and recover and determine if there were any major injuries or any who had passed. So far, a few major burns, but nothing as far as we can tell of deceased, though we haven't been able to get to the center of the blaze yet.
Understandable. I suppose any major leads as to the, well, the perpetrator and all this, whoever would have been the cause.
Don't worry, the guard is well at work trying to launch a full investigation. Investigator Brildwags here is going to be heading it up himself and has been doing a good job. And this small little furred creature reaches out a hand towards you, Theschault. Investigator Brildwags at your service. He kind of shakes it with this meaty little fist. Don't worry, citizen. We are hard at work trying to determine who put our city at danger, and we can assure you that we will be able to find the culprit quickly and ensure that no one else is put in danger.
Always a good thing to hear. I've lent a hand in the past to you all as far as being able to apprehend criminals. That's why I'm simply here, seeing if we can do our citizen's duty, as it were. So it does seem like it's in quite good hands, as it were. As I look at this bottom, I'm like, is it insulting to say hands? Just thinking internally. I mean, it's probably not, right?
If you are interested in being a part of the solution, the guard always welcomes new recruits. But freelance adventure work is not needed on this investigation at this time. If we need some additional hands-on, we will put some inquiries up on the job boards, as always. We appreciate the assistance of all the adventurers who call locked in their home, but this is best kept internally for now, we believe.
Understandable. Well, I suppose I'll keep my eye on the job board, but if you do ever look for external assistance, I certainly would prefer if you would come to me and my group of folks first. I know for a fact that we will be able to help to a significantly higher degree than your average citizen.
And what evidence do you have that would say that much?
Just going to just kind of show some of the tech I've got. I'm just saying, I've put a lot of research into all of this mechanical work, and, well, I'm just one of the many folks that we have here. I assure you, I'm actually probably somewhere in the middle as far as strength goes. At least I like to think.
And I'll say, Boko, you catch as the Mage Kivihall kind of leans over and whispers something into the inspector's ear, and the inspector kind of nods for a moment. Yes, quite impressive on the equipment you got there. If we find any leads, I suppose we might be able to, well, if we need any freelance work, we'll be sure to reach out. After all,
Excellent. That's all that I ask.
Any friends of the hospice able to help with the quarantine might have proven themselves a bit more than the average adventurer.
We certainly try our best.
You all were known as the Iron Horizon, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Kivihall says that you've got a shop called the Seventh Eye over on Troll Skull Alley, just a bit west of here.
Right, it's probably the best place to put in your request as soon as it comes up.
Good to know. I'll be in touch if we have anything for you. You all have a
Excellent.
good day.
And I'll reach out my hand to shake his hand again before we part ways.
He shakes it again, this kind of hefty grasp for such a small creature.
Excellent.
While Theschault was talking, was there any scorn or snideness to what he was saying?
Elaborate?
Was it lip service that he was giving us, or do we believe that he will actually reach out if he needs help?
Can you give me an insight check?
You know, I can try, but the way I've been rolling, oh, that's pretty good.
So you can tell that there's no snideness in here. It seems like it seemed that Kivihall kind of informed the inspector or reminded the inspector of what the nature of who you all were. And the inspector seemed to be giving you the respect that was due and seemed to truly recognize the help that you had made, but at the same time there was a bit of lip service in the fact that he clearly wants to not include adventurers, that probably for obvious reasons adventurers involved in formal investigative work probably tends to go poorly or be complicated at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe you would think that. Adventurers have never caused problems.
Sorry. Spit down the wrong pipe.
Damn, I really don't want to get in trouble in this city again.
I really don't want you to either.
What's the worst that could happen? I mean, what happened last time?
I propose a simple recon mission. No, you said... Sorry, Detective Brildwax, and the mage that was talking to him was the mage?
Yeah, who was the
What was his
same
name?
mage. Lehren Kivihall. He's the same mage that you all had met the previous night.
That put Roland in the bubble?
Yes, that put Roland in the bubble.
I'll kill him later.
And does he appear to be in on the investigation in an official capacity?
You know that he's a member of the guard. He is just he is likely a ranking officer in the arcane portion of the guard. So Breldwags is kind of heading up the investigation and probably getting help from multiple of the other sectors of the guard, and specifically with putting out the fire, you can see many mages and spells being used to help put the blaze down. Who the third figure is,
Boko
you don't know.
Yeah, Boko will hold his gaze and see if there's a chance to approach him, hopefully without the notice of the detective or the other figure.
Yeah, so these figures are like somewhat close, but they're all busy with orders and communication. There's enough space to try and grab Kivihall by himself if you'd like.
Yeah, Boko will approach him and he'll say, I recognize that when we met, it was not necessarily under the best of circumstances. However, my friend and I have a very large amount of energy invested in keeping this city safe. And despite our appearance, we do care for these people. I understand that assisting you in an official capacity is perhaps out of the question. But we do have abilities that are perhaps better suited to certain methods the guard may not wish to get involved in. Boko will kind of leave it at that.
Give me a persuasion check at advantage here.
Persuasion. Whatever this is, it is getting a bonus. I am gonna also flash a genius that. I have no business rolling persuasion checks, by the way, guys.
You have more business than me.
I am
do you have a
highly
negative?
persuasive.
Yeah, you want to see mine?
I'm gonna.
Oh, damn.
You had to burn it, David. You had to burn it to prove a point.
Rip.
My condolences for whatever failures. There go the highest rolls of the nights, everybody.
David is getting some lessons
Right
from the
there.
dice here. They might not be lessons he needed, wanted, or should have, but there are certainly lessons being delivered.
Watch, I'm gonna run into someone like, hey, here's the person that you wanted to find. It's the person who is trying to hurt Jasira in a position where you could easily assassinate them right now if you just crit.
Oh gosh.
No one would know.
No one would know. Yeah.
Not once trips
Boko-
over rifle, stabs self with bayonet.
Boko, as you give these words to Kivihall, he kind of lowers his voice and turns to you, just, all right, Breldwags, he's by the book. He's never going to let any adventurers into some formal business. But we all saw what happened last night. It's clear as day that the order's involved. If you can do any shaking of trees, you know, adventurers can get into taverns and places that, well, frankly, people outside the law will run as soon as they see myself or Broadwag, so if you can find anything about who in the order is in town, get the names over to me and we can do the rest.
Boko nods and says, all you need do is tell me where I can find you and point me in the direction. You simply aim me, and I will find what I can.
If you need to get to me, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna be moving around with Broadwags, but I'll try it at least once a day. Well, you all are up in the on Troll School, yeah?
Boko nods.
Alright. There's an inn or a tavern. It's called the Grinning Lion. It's not too far away from there. It's over in the North Ward. It's a nice place, not too far away from mine. I can try and make it there at least once a day. You leave a note for me if I'm not in there, and I'll get it, and I'll come find you.
Boko nods. And then he'll ask one last question. Are there any places, any taverns that are heavily associated or rumored to be associated with these individuals? And he'll emphasize these individuals because he knows who they are, but kind of let on that he knows who they are. Or at least who the suspects are.
There's all sorts of rumors that I heard, and trust me, we'll be shaking those trees as soon as we can. But if I was gonna launch an attack on these wards, North Ward, Sea Ward, the shadiest spots in town are up north, the Field Ward. It's got all sorts of characters in there. No one will admit it, because we're trying to move in progressive directions these days, but there's still lots of shady deals that happen over there. If somebody from the Order was trying to get explosives into the city, I imagine the Field Ward, well, it's not too far away from where all this happened, yeah? Other option are the docks. And anybody who's not coming in through one of the gates has to come in through the port. And the port, well, Dask has been running all over there. They've got all sorts of issues. Damn thugs. They probably just as likely to pull in some dangerous materials or some high-powered artifacts to be able to do damage like this. Those are your two best bets.
Boko nods and he'll turn to walk away.
Anything else that anyone is trying to do at this location before heading away?
I think Boko will just share the information with Theschault so he's aware.
Don't worry, I'm going to have them contact us if they ever need our assistance.
Boko will just say, there is a lead on perhaps some information we can find.
What? How? All right. What did you get?
Come, let us walk. There are shady patrons in the docks and in the Field Ward that may have some association with what happened here today.
Ah, all right, all right.
It is going to be our job to see what we can find in the shadiest places of the city.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And you all know that Roland was headed down to the dock wards. Are you guys trying to get two birds with one stone and meet him there? Or are you trying to split up and head towards the Field Ward while he's down in the docks?
I think we can stop by and see if we can find Roland. He would be an excellent person to assist us, having an affinity for shady nonsense.
So true.
Yeah.
You calling me pale?
What? No.
Definitely not calling you
Not as pale as Jasira.
And for Rhea and Rennie, the two of you, as you had kind of seen Roland go off back down to the docks where you had been the night before, and the others kind of head towards where this tower was, are you guys following after one of those groups, or were you headed to do your own thing?
I'd say I'd go with Roland. That he could always use somebody talented with the tongue.
I'm sure he could.
Damn, Roland. Shots were indeed fired that day.
Oh. Whew, man, the amount of spit going down the wrong pipe for me tonight is.
Because you don't have talent with the tongue, bro.
Rip.
Oh.
And
I
right.
didn't really want to follow that comment, but I'll stick with that group as well.
Don't blame me there. Don't blame me there.
I think I would like to stop by Sweetie's first, because something just pinged in my head that she'd said something big was about to go down, and I'd like to check in with her after her tower exploded.
Yeah. Roland already headed towards the southern part of the city. You drop in towards where Sweetie is at, dropping over towards Casual Joe's, and Casual Joe's is locked up tight with the closed sign hanging on the window.
Well, that's a good sign. Very informative. Take a lap around and see if you can see like a light on inside still.
Sure, give me an investigation check. You know, sure, why not?
Oh no, what, something bad is about to happen to me, I can tell.
Yeah, it's not. You are well familiar with this location already, and you kind of quickly do a lap around to try and find if there is any sign or sight of anyone, and you even know some of the back entrances, and you kind of maneuver to where there's kind of a hatch on the back, and it looks to have a heavy lock on it. But you find one of on the side, there's kind of a lever that actually opens it, and these doors are kind of false. And you pull it open and kind of head in through this back entrance. And for the most part, this place is pretty quiet indeed. You head up through the basement and no one's there. You head up into where Casual Joe's is at, and the normally lively location is much darker, dimmer, only a few candles on inside, but you do see the lanky figure of Slim still behind the bar. He's kind of sipping on a drink and looking through a few papers, and as you come in, he kind of turns his head in your direction, and then seeing it's you, kind of eases back slightly.
Well, Roland, didn't expect you in today. Boss said it was going to be quiet after all the explosive events of the evening.
I just wanted to check in and see how people were doing after the explosive events. See if if there were any toes I shouldn't step on if people were curious.
We're all trying to hang low, you know. Anytime things happen unexpectedly, especially when we're in the middle of our own plans, it tends to make Sweetie nervous. You know how she gets.
Okay, so it was unexpected.
I know Sweetie herself is a bit explosive, but that ain't our style. And that ain't the section of town that we're going after anyway.
The fact that it isn't your style is why I work right here. I wanted to make sure I wanted to continue employment.
You need a drink? Boss is out and all, so it's on the house.
And kind of gives that big toothy smile, all those jagged teeth lacing together like a predator's. What's
Why not?
Roland's drink of choice? I imagine Slim would already know it, but
I would think that mead would be difficult to get here,
for the most
so
part,
he'd probably.
for the most part, Karlakton is the center of trade, at least through Karnath, and so as long as it's not something too unique, like something as generic as mead is certainly available.
Okay, then yeah, this is probably the one place where he would drink mead, because he wouldn't want the connection being drawn between his accent and that drink for where he came from anywhere else.
Yeah, and Slim already has a glass poured by the time you sit down, of kind of your preferred mead. It's kind of got these hints of berries and almost this cool sensation. It's kind of like a mint, but something a bit more earthy than that, and it gives you this bit of nostalgia that keeps you coming back to this particular vintage.
Makes you feel like if you breathe out after a drink, you could see your breath.
Mm-hmm.
You always get the good stuff, Slim.
We treat you right here. Don't forget it.
Though I never have, and I never will. If anyone is coming in, looking around, asking around, I'm looking for someone in the dock wards.
No?
Pale. Paler than any ghost anyone's ever claimed to have seen. And you'll run through the description that
Just
Jasira gave him.
The first look that you give, Slim kind of raises the non-existent eyebrows, because he is like almost completely white in complexion. And then as you finish the description, he kind of nods along, the top hat on his head kind of shifting slightly, and he,
I'll keep a few ears out. We've got our eyes on the ground.
I've been beating the streets in these neighborhoods, and I'll kind of describe the neighborhoods I've got it narrowed down to. I'm going to keep working today. If there are any moves made in those neighborhoods, I'm already known.
I see. Well, be careful, Roland. It's gonna get a bit dicey. But I know you can handle yourself.
It always does.
If I hear anything, I'll pass it your way. Alright?
Thank you.
We got a lot of people out on the streets trying to lay low, so, they pick up things.
On the streets, laying low is the best place to get information.
Ain't that the truth?
And he'll down the drink, and even though it was on the house, he'll leave a tip for Slim. And and head out.
And as you kind of head in the direction of where you had left off on the dock wards the previous night, it's fairly easy for you to kind of catch up with the rest of the group that had been trailing behind, and you all kind of meet back together. You're kind of on the edge of one of the more popular streets as you look around and try to assess where you want to start, remembering the guidance that you had from the previous night on what the places of interest were here. And I just realized I didn't have sight on, so I'll make sure that those are turned on. But before, you guys had been told that the copper cup, why is that not working there? Okay, there we go. The copper cup, the purple palace, and the metal house of wonders were kind of the three locations that you had caught your eye, Roland, and then you had cut down some of the other locations that could be probable as well.
Okay. Stream is pinging you on the map.
Yeah, I'll get to it in a second. I'm trying to fix it right now. It's all good.
Alright. Let's work north to south. Let's go Metal House of Wonders. See if we can eliminate that neighborhood.
Eliminate that neighborhood is a wild sentence.
And with Roland, you never know which meaning he means.
As long as that neighborhood isn't standing right next to Roland, it's safe.
Well, he's about to walk into it with a hammer.
With a hammer. Where is... hello? There we go.
Which actually, like, as he's walking around, he's got, ironically, rifle slung across his back, obviously, but ironically, the two most prominent weapons beyond that are weapons that he never draws, because he has a short sword on his left hip and the star metal hammer on his right, just hanging there as reminders to him.
Noted. And as you walk into this location, it's a place of business. The Metal House of Wonders is one of the main guild halls within the city, and it is a kind of hub for within the city. There are lots of different guilds, and this particular one is known as the Splendid Order of Armorers, Locksmiths, and Finesmiths. And it's a bit of a mess inside. It's a well-used space, and it's a workspace. There is kind of a desk at the front where they can receive people, but you can tell that there's not often individuals who come to this desk. Usually there's couriers that might deliver information or other ways of requesting their services rather than coming to the hall itself. And so it functions mostly as a working space more so than anything. And you see all sorts of tools along the walls. You see people kind of working in different spaces, but it's not busy. For the most part, this place is fairly quiet. It's got maybe 5 or 6 individuals in it. And as you come in the door, you see middle-aged dwarven woman who kind of turns and comes up towards where this desk is at. It's good to see you today. Anything that we can help you with? And you see her kind of pausing as she seems to have a kind of spiel that is ready, but kind of stumbles over what she would say there.
You seems nervous, hiding something.
Give me an insight check.
Recognizes me. Thank ya. Oh, yes.
So immediately, you see that she's stumbling over her words, and Roland, with the bit that you know, and go ahead and give me a history check at advantage for you as well. Actually, no need, because everybody is now together, and so they would have gotten you caught up to speed. As they had mentioned that the explosions that Alistair had considered them potentially linked to the Order of the Emerald Claw, and this is the splendid Order of Armorers, Locksmiths, and Finesmiths. She tripped over where she was about to say, "What could the Order do for you today?" And that got caught in her throat. And you immediately noticed that of these rumors are getting around, and she's now on edge, trying to make sure that she's not associated with whatever is going on in the city. And immediately after that, there is a complete kind of fall off on any recovery that she would have had, as she definitely recognizes who you are. And word has kind of gotten around that there are people looking for answers, and that they might not be the most friendly. And the friendly is definitely in your description, or the not so friendly is definitely in your description.
He'll just kind of as she stumbles, he'll wait.
Oh, mean.
And just wait for her to get to the end of the tripping sentence and finish, and then just go. I take it you already know that I'm looking for someone.
Listen, we're just smiths here. We don't want any trouble. As you can see, this is our workshop. There's no places to hide here.
Well, I don't want to bring any trouble. Unless I'm forced to.
Right. Is there something that we can help with then?
And I'll pass on the description of the individual and just kind of continue the chain of evidence that I'd been piecing together to narrow down neighborhoods.
And Roland, as you're kind of giving this information out to this dwarven woman, the dwarven woman is pale at your just pure presence, and the others that have kind of come in with you.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone with that description. Please, I'm trying to be forthcoming, but listen, there's not too many people who come through our shop. We're just trying to help out folks, you get locked up. If you need something dainty needed to be built, we could help with that, perhaps. I don't know if you need anything. And she kind of continues stumbling through words, and at this point, this girl, she's got kind of a dusty purple blouse on. Her hair is kind of tousled. She's got work gloves on that are dirty, a wrench in her hand as she kind of looks over and just, Del, is this man causing you any trouble? And Roland, you immediately recognize the woman from the previous night who you had danced with, but she's almost unrecognizable. She is got dirt covering her arms and legs, or her arms and chest,
She's got sweat drenching her face. Like, she's clearly been hard at work. She's got a dozen tools on her belt. Like, before she was dressed to the nines as an elegant noble, and here she looks like a metal worker. And
all right. Respect.
Dell, this dwarven lady, kind of looks back. Oh, no, Andy. This man was just coming in to ask a few questions. You haven't seen a pale woman around. And this other woman, Andy, looks at you and she's like, oh, he's asking questions, is he? And you seem to be traveling with somebody a little pale yourself. I ain't seen nobody as pale as her around. Friend of hers you're looking for?
Someone who she would like to see again.
Well, she certainly stands out, and if I happen to need to get into some apartment or, you know, unlock an arcane wheel from somebody of the same complexion, I'll be sure to let you know. Del, why don't you get back to work? I'll handle these folks. Listen, we don't want any...
So if...
I don't know what you're trying to do in here, but these are good, honest people. I didn't realize it was you that was causing whatever it was around town, but I hope you got a good reason. Not everybody in the dock wards is scum like the people in the North Ward would have you think.
The vast majority of people in bad parts of town are not scum. Sometimes, though, it takes scum to root out the ones that are.
So I guess that makes you the scum then? She kind of raises an eyebrow.
I am what I am. I try to make my tools serve a purpose.
Disappointing a woman 2 days in a row. You really don't have a good track record, do you?
I am unaware of a need to have a good track. What are you referring to?
Gosh.
He's familiar with the code.
She looks over at the rest of you. Is he really this dense?
Boko is continuing to nod. He does not stop nodding.
Wait, Boko is here?
Everybody is here. Who
Yeah,
you mentioned that?
Shit.
Yeah, Jasira's 100% nodding.
I'd like to think the reason that Roland is off his game is because Boko is here.
Listen, what do you all need to get out of my hair?
We are looking for this woman. This woman tried to hurt my friend. I'm going to make sure that she can't do that ever again.
Alright, pale woman, dark hair. Got it. I'll send a...
Can we take a look around? Can you point us to anyone else who we could talk to... How did you put it? Get us out of your hair.
You say look around and she like motions at the large not empty, but the large single room here. She's like, there's not much to look around at here. But you got plenty of other options of rocks to overturn in this dock ward. If you think I'm going to give you somebody else that you can rustle their jimmies on, then you got another thing coming, buddy.
Then I guess I'm left with rustling your jimmies.
She like holds out the wrench aggressively, just like, I don't like the sound of that.
They were your words, not mine.
Listen, you can see the space in here. You can see the folks we got. Nobody of any pale complexion. At least not as paler than mine. So unless I'm who you're looking for, then you best be moving on. Like I said, there's plenty of other rocks that you can turn over in the dock ward.
Is she... Is she showing any signs of hiding anything, or is she fully forthright on this?
You can try an investigation or an insight here.
Investigation. I would love to do investigation.
Yeah, so investigation is more on the things, insight is more on the person.
Okay.
And so, like, if they're trying to hide something on their person, if there's something on the table, if there's a context in the room, like, that's investigation. If you're trying to read the body language, the language, that's insight. So, slightly different.
I'll do the former. I'll do investigation and just be, like, looking for trapdoors, looking for something someone may have dropped in the clutter, looking for any sort of clues in the things, just kind of walking around the room while I'm talking to her. Just full out Columbo it. Ew, that was bad. 20.
Ugh, that was bad. 20. Gosh. Give me a break. Immediately what you notice nearby, Roland, is that this woman, do you know that she's of noble background, but she's clearly a skilled workman. Like, she has tools of the trade that are unique, that, like, you notice, like, very particular instruments that you had to track down for your gunsmithing. She has ones that are in nicer condition with better, like, attachments on her belts that you're, like, kind of a little bit jealous of. You also see, like, the trailing of certain tattoos kind of around her arms, nestled up under the sleeves. You're not sure if this is some sort of, like, rebellion, but it's in very particular spots that would be hidden by most dresses of this era and time. You also can tell kind of around the table that there are multiple different projects that people are working on. In here, there's a few individuals who kind of have maybe 2 or 3 projects, and you can see on her desk, they're not nearly as finished, but she's got like 8 projects out that she's working on actively. And you catch one sight over on the desk where there is a bottle, and it would be unassuming to kind of have vials in these locations, but this vial is something that is typically utilized in something like alchemy. It's not often utilized. Like, it's got that, like, angular thin neck that is indicative of, like, a potion or some sort of liquid. It's not often utilized in this type of smithing. And you know, because you've got a lot of fine detail work that you need. If you need, like, grease or you need something with that fine detail work, it's in like a tube, or it's in some sort of, like, paste in a small jar. This is out of place.
Curious. I didn't know that the shop did alchemy.
I'm a woman of many talents.
Such as?
Well, you keep annoying me, you're gonna find out that I'm pretty good at kicking ass.
As tempting as that is. Where did you get this? What project are you using it for?
Give me a charisma check of your choice here on how you're attempting to approach this, Roland.
I mean, obviously it's intimidation. I've been been maintaining that glowering presence through the entire thing.
That's the vibe that I got, but I wanted to ensure that I was correct in that.
It's probably too in the moment for guidance, so...
Damn.
This beautiful feat that I have called Brutal Visage, where that I believe the description says You're ugly and it's scary. If you have a negative to charisma, it counts as a positive for intimidation.
You're ugly and it's scary. Well.
Roland, you immediately notice this kind of change in her eyes. There's something that kind of hits a chord, and you can see that you dialed in on exactly the right item to try and get something out of her. And you see as she kind of relaxes for a moment and kind of drops her voice, and you're kind of away from some of the other people in here. And so she like quietly says, clearly wanting to still kind of keep up appearances here. She's like, listen, I don't know what you're looking into, but I promise that has nothing to do with it. It's something for my father.
Oh. I hate to disappoint you 3 times in 2 days, but I'm going to
4.
need more information than that.
Listen, you saw me last night, right? Dressed up on all this frilly girly stuff. It's not my cup of tea. But my father
This is
insists-
indeed a better look for you.
See, if we had started there, you might have gotten somewhere. Regardless,
I appreciate a tradesman.
God, it's your dense.
Boko is still nodding.
Listen, my father is a very powerful man, and you can't exactly say no to him like you would a normal man. And I'm getting the sense that you might understand that better than most after your habits here today. So I was trying to brew something up to make him a bit more understandable, get his mind on other things and away from trying to find me a husband. Still no
Fair
pale
enough.
women.
I'm satisfied. Please do keep an eye out.
That makes one of
I
us.
have no...
Oh.
I have no desire to make long-term enemies. Keep an eye out for the woman, and if you need anything, let me know. I'll keep an eye out for you.
Now we're offering favors. You really have this whole damn thing backwards. You know, if you just come into places and you're like, hey, I'd be happy to help you out if you help me out, people might not think you're a freaking monster. Now, those scars don't help. You might think about talking to a mage about some arcane surgery there, but, you know, I guess if you're trying to lean into a whole scary monster thing, you know, maybe it's...
He's just like out of view of everyone else as she's rambling on at this. He'll make the scars go away and stare her dead in the eye and then turn around and they come back.
You know, I don't even want to get involved
Sometimes
in
the
this shit.
monster is useful.
This is not what I signed on for today. And I don't know who you
Then we'll
are
get out of your hair.
and what you're involved with. I don't really want to make deals with whoever they are. If you're ready to and satisfied, that's good enough for me. You go on your way, and I hope you find who you're looking for.
Thank you. He'll turn around and walk out.
Roland is leaving.
Yes. He's satisfied. This place doesn't have anything. He got down, he found the thing that they were hiding, got a private personal explanation for it that would be embarrassing. That sounds more like the truth. He's done. This isn't the place.
Boko is going to approach this woman. And he's going to say,
I apologize for my friend, but perhaps I can offer a trade.
Oh boy. First we get Burn Boy, and now we get Middleman.
Boko is gonna ignore that.
The vial you have is very impressive. Something I tend to dabble in quite frequently. Perhaps for a little bit of advice in the right direction of what you are making. You can provide us with some information.
What kind of adventure or information were you looking for? You still looking for this pale woman?
Yes, however, the information I seek is something different. It involves what happened in the city.
I assume you're talking about what happened last night, then.
Boko nods and he goes,
You are correct when you said that not everybody in the bad parts of town are bad. Currently, I am looking for information surrounding people who may be giving this ward a bad name.
So you're a witch hunter?
No. I simply have great interest in keeping this town safe.
And how do you decide who is making it safe and who isn't?
I tend to draw the line at destroying towers within the city.
I mean, you kind of crossed that line the first time you walked in.
I did not destroy that tower.
From Roland's perspective, everything was fine, and then you walked in.
I feel strongly I can argue my case about the first tower. The second tower, I might not be beating the allegations.
Listen.
They hit the second tower.
Gosh. Listen, I'm sure that the guard is going to be launching a formal investigation. You, poking around, it doesn't exactly bode well for building up confidence that whoever you find is going to be a person who's actually responsible. Why not just go through the investigation? That's why the guard exists, after all. To help protect us, keep us safe, right?
Boko's gonna look at this person and he's gonna say,
You know very well what happens in this ward. How many times has the guard failed you?
Well, you're better at passing tests than your friend was.
That is not the first time I have heard that.
Hey now.
Boko will reach out to try to take the vial from her.
She lets you take it.
Boko will take a look inside and take a quick glance over the work that's been done, take a sniff, see if he can identify any of the reagents used.
Currently, it's just an empty glass vial.
Oh, I thought there was something in it.
No, not yet.
So did I.
No, Roland just noticed it purely off of its shape.
Boko will look at her and say,
Generally, these tend to come with other parts. Alembics, flames, boiling vials.
Yeah, I'm working on those parts. I'm a smith, not exactly an alchemist.
Wait. Hold on one second. Boko is going to start gathering stuff. He's just going to start walking around and gathering things.
What kind of things?
And spending a little bit of time and leveraging my tools, I can create a set of tools for her.
Okay. So you try and gather
Boko will
some
try
things to
whip-
help her out.
Roland walks out, and an hour later looks back, and Boko is still there.
But Boko is maybe not finishing, but starting to put together something that functions as an alchemist's supply kit.
I dig it.
And as he does so, he says, "There is a name that I have heard repeatedly surrounding the events of what happened last night. And it is what I have come here looking for. Unfortunately, this name tends to be whispered. Tends to be related to bad things that happen within this city." Boko will say, "The Order of the Emerald Claw. Is this something you are familiar with?"
I mean, I imagine everybody's in the city has heard him.
There's a difference between hearing of someone and, well, I'm hoping that's what I find is more than just hearing of them.
The Emerald Claw are... they're boogeymen, devils, shadows. They don't exist. They're who people pin stuff on when they can't find anybody or when they don't want to admit who was actually at fault. There are a bunch of disgruntled war veterans who died out decades ago, and yet these stories live on, and people just use it to get out of the truth. If you ask me, if you're really trying to figure out who did all this, you need to find a why. Looking for ghosts ain't gonna get you anywhere.
Seems like you have an idea.
Listen, there's a handful of organized criminals in this city. Real criminals. Some that have been around for far longer than whispers of emerald claws were. It's far more likely that an explosion was some coordinated attack or some gang violence of some kind than it was... I mean, after all, the Emerald Claws never attacked a city before. If you ask me, I was a lot more likely to be one of those. You're familiar with them, yeah? Or are you a newer person in town?
Did she say one of those?
She's asking if you're familiar with the criminal organizations in town, or if you're a newer person in town.
Oh, okay. Boko sort of looks down at himself and looks up at her, and he says, "I'm afraid it is very obvious that I am not a local."
I wouldn't be so sure. People can jump to conclusions here, but this place isn't Mixon's pot. And though that metal may be out of place in most areas,
We got quite a few constructs here, and quite a few of them have some personality. There's not too many Warforged around this long still, but a lot of them have found a home here. Anyway, if you're not from here, if you're gonna ask after real criminals, Dask is the one that's the biggest problem in this part of town. They're typically more monstrous races. Gnolls, orcs, minotaurs, heck, even harpies, and sometimes tieflings too. Again, I don't want you to go on any sort of witch hunt. There's plenty of those creatures that are good, honest folk. But that does tend to be the type that get recruited. And those folk have been used and abused here, even here. That's why they're so quick to fall into those types of roles. And it ain't fair for them. It ain't right, but it happens. Anyway, they're the ones that operate the docks. They've got control of most of the southern parts. The North Ward, Sea Ward, Castle Ward, a lot of that's owned by the Zahintrim. They're old school crime. Elegant, refined. They're the ones who show up in a suit before they stab you. And it's not too often that they even talk to a goblin or a gnoll. They're the ones who probably long since tried to keep him out, tried to keep him in the field wards, but I don't know. Now things have all shifted around. If I had to guess, I'd say that Dask probably tried to take out some of the operations that the Zhentarim had up in the north. That's what would make sense to me. I mean, hell, goblins are known to be into explosives, right? I hate to be one for stereotypes, but that feels like what makes sense to me.
Boko nods. Regardless of what you may think about me or my friends, it appears that we all care for what happens within this city and what happens to its people. And having sort of helped her knit together some sort of functional set of tools, Boko would like to offer her some advice on the basics of this.
Thanks. I appreciate the help. I don't suppose you got any malice around to get this thing started.
Any what?
She references some sort of plant or ingredient, and you kind of nod and laugh. She wasn't kind of serious, but just kind of making some conversation. But you help her get started, help her teach her the new tools, and she seems to be a bit thankful.
I mean, if she could describe it to me, I might be able to tell her where to look. Can leverage some of my knowledge for that, but
yeah,
I don't have any on me.
She kind of gives some descriptions, and you mention a few places where you might have seen it, but it's more just kind of casual banter at this moment. Anything else that anyone wants to do in this shop?
I think I'm
Her name
good.
is Dansk?
Dask. Daask.
Dask.
Dask. And...
Oh, I thought you were asking for a dance.
Oh.
Would Roland have been able to catch most of that conversation after kind of getting out of the way?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. perched up on a roof, Batman style, listening in.
Kind of on the, I kind of picture it as like on the outside of the
Trench coat
door
flared
frame.
out around him.
Gosh, yes. So after the locksmith, where would Roland take the party next?
He'd want to do like a sweep of the streets to fully eliminate that neighborhood, and then head south.
And heading south towards the Purple Palace, or just to the Copper Cup next?
Whichever one is closest.
So Copper Cup next. And
We in the field district, or are we in the docks?
you guys are in the
Dock ward.
docks. Yeah. The field is
Keep my
up
eyes out
north.
for any
Yep. Keep your eyes up.
shady dealings or goblins.
Yeah, why not? As you guys
Also,
are doing.
by the way, the players are not on that map.
I know. I was just looking for my
Okay.
reference to see what was closer.
Okay.
But I figured we would be moving on here pretty quick. But as you guys want to look through kind of this section and kind of seeing if there is anything shady, Boko, why don't you give me a perception check, and Roland, give me an investigation as you're kind of or a intimidation if you'd like.
And Jasira just be on the lookout for the person she saw following her.
Yeah, give
You
me a
know what?
perception added. Just give me a perception, but it'll be kind of targeted just here.
Okay.
You know what? I am tempted to go for the higher number, but the thing that he's been doing in this neighborhood is working the neighborhood so they all know who he is. So he's gonna go with intimidation.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Solid.
I'll say, as you guys are clearing out this area, you catch sight, not of anything shady necessarily, but there are a few of these dock workers who seem to have gotten into some sort of altercation. And there's a few fists being thrown back and forth now, as there is like a ring of people starting to mass around this fight. And I'll say, with those perceptions and those checks in general, while most of you don't recognize these individuals, Theschault, you actually do see one of these individuals with this braided red beard that you had met in the market, who's kind of in the process of kind of boxing this other hefty dock worker in this space.
Oh gosh. I mean, do I know if this guy's a reputation for this kind of behavior?
You can give me a history check, maybe? Kind of having some time to think on it.
More. Yeah, well, I'm just watching this unfold here. Okay, it's alright.
So you still don't know this individual by reputation, but the dock ward definitely has a reputation for being a bit more brawly. It's a bit lower class. They certainly have that nature to them. And so you definitely get the sense that if they're here, if they're in the docks, then that feels somewhat appropriate to what you've heard.
Theschault stereotyping.
Yeah, so I guess
It isn't often that he slums it downtown.
yeah, not really.
But it's up to you guys if you want to engage with this in any way, or if you don't find it to be what you're looking for.
I'm just If this is a normal dock worker environment here, it's gonna turn to the party here. Well, this isn't abnormal for this space, but you'll probably get more information out of them by preventing them from beating the stuffing out of each other.
Perhaps if they soften each other up, it will be easier to question them.
Now you're
Roland's
talking.
just gonna point at Boko.
That.
I suppose there's value there too.
Are we just watching the spectacle then?
Yeah, I'll say
That's
is
up to you. I'm probably not going to personally be involved.
what was that, Roland?
Oh, that was
I don't know.
I was saying I'm not going to be personally involved.
Yeah, it sounded like David had something that he was adding on top of that too.
Oh,
Yeah, I just have a talent for starting to talk a split second after someone else has.
Relatable.
Was there anything that you wanted to add, David?
It's a visibility opportunity, so he like walk towards it and take up a prominent post to observe. He wants to know who wins.
All right. As at least Roland and Boko take up spots to begin watching this, Theschault, are you observing this as well, or are you kind of going off to the
I'll
side?
observe it.
Okay. As you guys move in to kind of observe the fight, Jasira, you've been kind of looking around, studying faces, and you catch this feeling of being watched, and you spin around to look towards an alley where there is just this pale, ghostly face looking at you, and then suddenly it's gone.
I shoot it.
And that's where we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up for tonight, and where we'll come back.
Ooh, okay.
I gotta leave you guys with a little bit to keep you going.
All right.
Cliffhanger, hanging from a cliff.
Keep giving me all these cliffhangers.
I mean,
That's why
we've
he's
got
called
sessions now.
Cliffhanger.
I mean, technically on the last one you weren't hanging from the cliff anymore, you were falling.
Yeah.
Active, true.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll
In my
see you
head,
next
I
time.
wasn't.